Hello everyone, I'm Santiago and today I'm gonna be testing Sniper Elite 4 on the Geforce GTX 750 Ti for FPS monitoring. This time I won't be using cam since I'll be using the DX 12 mode and cam is not currently working with DX 12. So in the meantime I'll be using MSI Afterburner instead. So Sniper Elite 4, I'll do 1080p, 900p and 720p. To skip those sections of the video, check the description below. So first of all, the only way to hit 60 frames per second on this card for me, it was to play at 720p, using pretty much medium shadows with low settings, but you can get closer to 60 frames per second if you overclock your GTX 750 Ti. There's a link for a tutorial in the description below if you want to check that out. So for 1080p I use pretty much a mix between medium and high. I use high textures, medium reflections, medium draw distance, and ambient occlusion on. Tessellation and obscurance fields will turn off, and the game was over 30 frames per second, no problem. Then at 900p I was using pretty much high settings with anti-aliasing on low, and then tessellation and obscurance fields were turned on too, and the game was over 30 frames per second once again, but it was very difficult on 900p to get 60 frames per second. I had to use the lower setting, but it was still dropping below that. But again, overclocking should help. And finally at 720p I was able to hit 60s, and then I will just show you a higher setting targeting 30 if you want to have the maximum quality possible. And at the end of the video I'll show you DX 11 versus DX 12 so you can see why I chose DX 12 instead of DX 11 for this testing. And now I'm going to talk to you about some of the stuff that you should keep in mind when tweaking the game. First of all, I recommend using DX 12. In this game it seems that it's finally done correctly. Just test it out. In the launcher, go to the options and tick the option called D3D12 and you'll get an option to use asynchronous compute, so I suggest you use that. It's a very noticeable FPS boost. Then in the options menu itself, for texture detail we have from low to ultra. If you have a 2GB card, for example a 950 or 750 Ti, if you use high, some textures won't load. On my videos of both of those cards I use high textures, but I suggest trying medium. Then for shadows, again we have from low to ultra. I suggest using high if you don't have a very high-end card. It's not really that hard to run. This controls the shadow resolution and distance. Then reflection detail we have from low to ultra too. With this one I'm kinda disappointed. These are screen space reflections, they look pretty good, and this controls the resolution of the reflections. I suggest keeping this on medium or low. It's a good FPS boost and you don't really notice it while playing the game, but it would be nice to have an option to turn them off, since that would be a decent frame rate boost. Then we have anti-aliasing off, low, medium and high. This is not a big FPS hit, but if you're having trouble with the frame rate, turn it off. It seems to be some filter like SMAA or FXAA, nothing fancy about it. Draw distance we have from low to ultra, which is just a draw distance as the name suggests, a small FPS boost by lowering this. Then we have an isotropic filtering, motion blur, ambient occlusion, it seems to be SSAO. Tessellation and obscurance fields, I suggest to turn them off. They are good FPS boosts, as well as ambient occlusion, and that's pretty much the options menu. Personally, I think that the best configuration, for example for the 1050 Ti, 950, something of that tier, is high textures, high shadows, low or medium reflections, anti-aliasing off, draw distance on medium, anisotropic 16 times, motion blur off, ambient occlusion yes, tessellation and obscurance fields off, and DX 12 with asynchronous compute enabled. There it doesn't look that much different from the highest setting, and it runs much better than the highest setting, so I suggest using that. One important thing I forgot to mention, when you're into the foliage, just hiding from the enemy, and you get the camera closer to your character, you'll see that the foliage will be transparent. Well, that is a huge hit to the frame rate. I was getting like 60s and when I did that, it's a bigger FPS hit. I got a drop from 60 to 40 sometimes, so keep that in mind. I didn't see a way to get rid of that problem, but maybe with a patch, if we request it to the developers, we can see a way to just, instead of getting transparencies there, just to disappear the grass or something. So keep an eye out for that. But yeah guys, that's pretty much it. I hope you keep enjoying the video. Thanks for watching and see you next time.
tower looks like a good vantage point.